Hello, my magical friends. As you can tell, I'm feeling better, so that's a bonus in life, especially at the moment. But it does bring me to a topic that I wanted to discuss was how to survive a lockdown. In South Africa, we're now well into the second week of lockdown, and it's definitely a necessary thing at the moment. A lot of people aren't taking it seriously. But I mean, if you think about it, there are people dying all over the world, and if we can prevent that as much as possible and try and get rid of this thing as soon as possible, then it benefits everybody. But we're all finding ourselves in unique situations, especially if you're not used to working from home. Now, I am used to working from home, and I am quite a bit of a hermit actually. So this whole lockdown thing hasn't been too much of a disruption to me, but there is a member of the household who usually goes to work who's now at home permanently, so there is a bit of an adjustment there even. So it's even for me, it's there. I am finding myself in a situation where I need to just adapt a little bit, just adjust a little bit. But most people are finding that because they go to an office, either they own their own business or they have a job. It doesn't really matter if they are used to working away from home. Now all of a sudden they're working at home, and they may have kids, they may have a spouse, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you're in each other's space 24/7. It does pose a few challenges, and it makes a few things difficult. So I've got 5 tips on how to survive a lockdown. So the first one is to stick to your schedule. So if you're used to getting up in the morning, getting your breakfast, getting dressed for work, and then traveling to the office, doing your work, and then traveling back home, try and stick to the same schedule. So get up at the same time, get your breakfast, get dressed for work. Even if it doesn't matter if you're working from home, get dressed for work, so that you get yourself into the right mindset, and then when you go and do your work from home, then you are in the mindset to actually do work. A lot of people find that a lot of people actually find working from home very, very difficult because you have a lot of distractions. But if you try and stick to your same schedule that you always had, or you used to, then it does make it a little bit easier. But you've got to be in the mindset of you are going to work now. It doesn't matter where you're going to work, you are going to work. And if you're in that mindset, then it does make it a lot easier. So, having said that, because you're at home and you do have all the distractions, you have the TV there, you have the kitchen where you can go and make your food, then give yourself rewards. Now, you might find that after a week or two of lockdown, you discover that you're putting on a lot of weight. As I say, I'm used to working from home, but I'm putting on a lot of weight because for some reason I'm eating more. So, try and again stick to your schedules, but also give yourself rewards. So tip number 2 is give yourself rewards, and it might be watching the TV or going to get a snack or getting lunch, whatever it may be. Make that a reward, because if you don't, then what you do, you keep going to the kitchen and getting snacks and coming back and sitting down and work, and going to the kitchen, getting a snack, coming back and sitting down and work. Or you might just, feel like you want to take a break and you go and sit down at the TV, and then 2 hours later you're still watching the TV. So make those things rewards, so that you set yourself a certain time period where you're going to work from this time to that time, and then when you've reached that time, you can give yourself a reward. It might be half an hour of TV, it might be going to get a snack from the kitchen. Now, what I do with my usual schedule is that around about 8 or 9 o'clock, I'll have breakfast. And what I'll do, I'll go make breakfast, and then I'll sit down and I'll watch a series because I like watching series. And that's my reward. But I do it while I'm having breakfast so that I can get that in while I'm also eating breakfast and therefore can't work. Now, a lot of people say you shouldn't eat while you're watching TV. Tough. That's what I do. that's how I give myself my reward. And then when I have lunch, then I'll sit down and watch a series again as well. So those are my reward periods, and then between those two stages, I have X amount of hours that I assign to actually sitting down and working. So those are my reward periods. The third tip is to schedule time for people and events that aren't part of a usual day. As I say, some people may find that they're at home with their spouses, they may have kids, and those people want your attention, especially when it comes to the kids, because the kids just see, if they're young kids especially, they'll probably be wanting your attention the whole day. So what you need to do is schedule time for those people and for those events, for different events that happen during your day, so that you're not. You might find that because you're working from home and you've got everything there, you don't have to travel to an office and back from an office. You've got everything at your disposal right there. You could actually find that you start working and you don't stop. You carry on till all hours of the evening, because you can get up and go and make a cup of coffee, or get up and go and get that snack, and then you can just carry on working. There's no break. That's why, as I say again, you do need to stick to a schedule. So if your work hour ends, or your work day ends at a particular time, then end at that particular time. Don't carry on. And then what you can do is schedule time for the family after you finish working, but you might also find that you need to do it during the day. So at the same time as assigning yourself rewards, also assign yourself time for the family, for the children, just so that they know that you're there and you're there for them, and you're not ignoring them or anything like that. But also explain it to them. Tell them, especially if it's young kids, explain to them that you do need to work. You are at home at the moment, but even though you are at home, you do need to do your work. But at a certain time, we'll spend an hour, whatever it may be, on maybe you're homeschooling the kids during this period, and so you assign that time. And it'll help you, it'll help them, and it'll just help the whole situation just flow a lot easier. And also with scheduling, have a look at time blocking, because that will probably help you as well. Time blocking is where you actually block out sections of time throughout your day for specific things, and you include everything. If you have breakfast for half an hour or an hour or whatever it may be, then you block that time out. I even block out time for my wake-up period, because I do polyphasic sleep. I block out my morning sleep and then half an hour for wake-up, because that's when I get up, make a cup of coffee, sit down, just drink my coffee and just try and wake up a little bit before I actually start doing anything, and that takes about half an hour. So block out every single bit of time during your day and schedule those everything in. Just schedule everything you can possibly think of that you need to fit in. But you can then see with the blocks of time, how much time you spend on work, how much time you spend on rewarding yourself, on interacting with the family, and all this stuff. So you can actually see how much time you're spending on everything, and then be strict with yourself. And when it comes to reward time, then stop working and go give yourself your reward for half an hour or an hour, whatever you're assigned to it. But make sure you do stick to that schedule, because if you continue working over the reward time, then you tell yourself, well, it doesn't really matter. And then the next day, your brain's going to say, well, because that didn't matter, then I can take my reward time now, and let it last 2 hours. And then your schedule's all over the place, and you need to try and stay organized. If your time is organized, your brain's organized, your mind's organized, then you're going to get through it with a little bit more sanity. Also, you probably find you've got extra time, and this is mostly due to travel time. You may travel to and from the office, and it may take you an hour to do so. So you've got half an hour where you would have travelled to work, and half an hour where you travel back home. So during that half an hour, so this is tip number 4, and it actually goes into tip number 5. So tip number 4 is upskill, and tip number 5 is self-reflection. So spend that extra time learning a new skill, something you might want to improve on yourself, or in your life, or even in your job, in your business. So you might want to learn a new language, or you might want to learn a new skill which improves your job skills, or improves yourself within your business. So learn something new. If you go to Udemy, there's tons and tons of courses, and they have courses on literally everything. And you can learn something new, and it costs next to nothing just for a course. You're not going to get a degree at the end of it. You'll get a certificate, which you can still put in a CV if necessary. But it's mostly just it's self-improvement. I believe that we should constantly be trying to improve ourselves, and there's no end to that ever. You can always improve, and if you're improving yourself, then you're just becoming a better you, and that's something I definitely think everybody should be doing. So tip number 4 was upskill, and tip number 5 is self-reflection. So something else you can do during these periods where you would have been travelling to or from work. If you don't meditate, then take on meditation practice. It might be 15 minutes a day, and then the other 45 minutes you're learning something new. You're upskilling yourself. So learn meditation, do some self-reflection. Just check in with yourself. I think it's going to be very important during this period of lockdown, is to actually check in with yourself. Just make sure that you're happy, and if there are any problems that come up, you can deal with them. There's no problem that's too big to deal with. Everything has a solution. So take that time for self-reflection and check in on yourself, and just make sure you're okay and you're happy. And if you find that you need to adjust something, then adjust it, so that you can actually carry on with a mind that's still sane, and get through the whole lockdown period with no problems at all. And those are my 5 tips for how to survive a lockdown. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, share, comment, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Cheers.